If you are paying your credit card bill on a due date thinking you are doing everything right, you could be missing out on 30 to 50 credit score points every single month. I'm about to show you the one payment strategy that can boost your credit score consistently, and 90% of the people have never heard of it. Here's what's crazy. Most people think paying on time means paying by the due date, but there's actually a different date that's way more important for your credit score, and the credit companies don't want you to know this because they make billions when you get this wrong. I've seen people go from 600 credit score to over 800 just by changing when they pay the credit card bill. Not how much they pay, not which card they use, but simply when they make the payment. And the best part is this strategy works whether you have one card or 20 credit cards. Now, if you are new to this channel, I'm Alain, I'm the founder of SRE Group, and I help business owners and entrepreneurs get up to $100,000 in business funding at 0% APR for 12 months. And the best part is you don't pay a dime until you get funded. And we are only working with a limited number of people each month because we provide personalized strategies for each situation. If you want to learn more about this, click the first link in the description to book your free strategy call. But today we are talking about something that affects everyone with a credit card. The truth is nobody taught us about credit. Not at school, not in college, not our parents. So the most confusing thing out there right now is when you should pay the credit card so I can sneeze out more points from the credit score and continue to watch it grow. There's so much misinformation about this, and honestly I think they made all these dates confusing on purpose so everyone pays interest. The banks makes money from interest, right? Stick around because what I revealed in section 3 will completely change how you think about the credit card's payments, and I will show you the exact timing strategy that can add points to your credit score every single month. Let me clear up the biggest confusion that's costing people credit score points every month. Most people focus on the due date because it sounds important, but here's the truth. The due date only matters if you carried a balance from the previous month. It even says it on your statement. Make a minimum payment by the due date. But if you only make the minimum payment, you're going to get hit with interest fees. People who pay off their credit cards in full don't care about interest fees. We don't pay interest to the bank. They don't like us. They love people who only pay the minimum payment because they are going to hit them with interest every single month. Here's what most people don't understand. Your due date represents the previous month's balance. So if you don't carry a balance from the previous month, then you actually don't have a due date to worry about. My favorite thing to see in a credit card app is when it says no payment due at this moment. That's exactly what you will see when you pay off your credit card in full. But here's the critical part everyone misses. There's another date that's way more important than the due date, and understanding this date is key to boosting your credit score consistently. The date you need to pay attention to is your statement closing date. This is the date that determines what balance gets reported to the credit bureaus. Let me show you exactly how this works using the real credit statement. You can see the payment due date is pushed all the way to the top in big bold letters. That's how they convince you to stay in debt. But look down at the little section that says next closing date. Why wouldn't they put that at the very top? Because they want you to pay those interest fees. Your statement closing date is when they calculate how much you owe and report that balance to the credit bureaus. This is the date that affects your credit score. Here's the key insight that changes everything. The credit card company has 3 to 7 days to report that balance once the statement closing date hits. So it could be that specific date, or it could be 3 to 7 days after. This is why you want to pay off your credit card 2 to 3 days before the statement closing date hits. This ensures your payment post before they take that snapshot and send it to the credit bureaus. And here's the golden rule that most people never learn. You want to report as close to zero balance as many times as possible. The more consistently you report the zero balance, the more credit score you will continue to grow. Let me show you exactly how this affects to your credit score, because this is where it gets really powerful. Your credit score has 5 factors. Payment history makes up 30%, the credit utilization is 30%, together that's 65% on your entire credit score. Now here's what most people get wrong. They think they need to carry a balance to show activity. That's completely false. Activity is not a credit score factor. Nowhere on the credit score calculation does it mention activity. What matters is utilization. That's the balance you owe divided by your credit limit. And here's the key. The credit bureaus calculate this based on what gets reported on your statement closing date. Let me give you a real example. If you have a $3,000 credit limit and you charge $1,500 during this month, that's 50% utilization. Even if you pay off on the due date, if that $1,500 balance was still there when the statement closed, you're getting dinged for 50% utilization. But if you pay that $1,500 2 days before the statement closing date, your statement shows zero balance, and that's what gets reported to the credit bureaus. 0% utilization. The difference between 50% utilization and 0% utilization can be 30 to 50 credit score points. That's massive. Now let me share the advances strategy that separates the pros from everyone else. You can actually move your statement closing date by calling the credit card company. Most big banks have zero problems moving your statement closing date. The smaller crappy credit cards may give you hard times, but they can do it. Here's how I manage multiple credit cards. I put half of my credit cards on the 1st of the month and the other half on the 15th of the month. This gives me a 15-day window between them. So I stop using a specific group of credit cards and then move to the other credit cards. The reason you want to do this is because you want to stop using the credit cards for 3 to 7 days maximum from your statement closing date. So it reports as close to zero balance as possible. And here's the mistake that drives people crazy. They'll pay off the credit card, then immediately start using it again after the statement closing date. Then they wonder why their credit score dropped or why it's showing a balance. It's showing a balance because you used it right after the statement closing date hit. This is why people's credit score go up and down like a roller coaster instead of consistently growing. The name of the game is consistency, your ability to repay consistently. The more consistent you are reporting zero balances, the more credit score will continue to grow. Let me share a big mistake that keeps people's credit building progress. Mistake number 1 is only making the minimum payment. Always pay your balances in full if possible to avoid interest charges. Remember, people with high credit score don't pay interest to the banks. Mistake number 2 is missing payments entirely. You have until 30 days before the credit card companies tell the bureaus that you are late. But if you miss your due date, you are going to get hit with late fees. One late payment can drop your credit score by over 100 points. This is why you should always set up your autopay from a checking account, not a debit card. If your debit card gets compromised and they close it, you might forget about it and miss the payment. Mistake number 3 is not using the credit card at least once every 3 months. The credit card company will shut off your credit card if you are not using it because they want people who are going to use it with the hopes that they will get into debt. Mistake number 4 is closing your oldest credit cards. This hurts your average length of the credit history, which is 15% of your credit score. Avoiding these mistakes will accelerate your credit building and help you reach your goals faster. Now let me share the autopay strategy that protects you while maximizing this payment timing method. You always want to set up the autopay for at least the minimum payment from your checking account. This is your safety net. Even if you forget to make your strategy payment before the statement closing date, you won't hit with a late fee or damage your payment history. But here's the advanced move. Set your autopay to pay the full statement balance, not just the minimum. This way, if you accidentally carry or forget to make your early payment, the autopay will clear everything by the due date. Then you manually make the strategic payment 2 to 3 days before the statement closing date. This gives you the best of both worlds. You get the credit score boost for low utilization reporting, and you have the protection of autopay as a backup. Some people ask me about setting autopay to draft a few days before the statement closing date instead of the manually payment. The problem is the autopay usually drafts based on the current balance, not your statement balance. So if you've made new purchases after the statement closed, autopay might draft more than you intended. The manual payment strategy gives you complete control over exactly what balance gets reported to the credit bureaus. Here's what you need to do right now to start boosting your credit score consistently. First, find your statement closing date on the credit card statement. That's rule number 1. Second, you can move your statement closing date by calling the credit card company and requesting it. Third, pay off your credit card 2 to 3 days before your statement closing date hits. Fourth, pay down as close to zero or hit zero as many times as possible consistently to continue raising your credit score. And fifth, remember you don't have to carry a balance to have a high credit score. Now, if you're a business owner or entrepreneur with a 700 plus credit score and want to see how the strategic credit optimization can help you access to $100,000 in business funding at 0% APR for 12 months, click the link below and book a free strategy call right now. Remember, you don't pay a dime until you get funded, and we are only working with a limited number each month because we provide personalized strategies for each situation. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more credit strategy content that actually works. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.